All right, everyone. Sorry, it's a bit late tonight. 20 minutes late, precisely. However, that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. And live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So, to be clear, if you would like to join Storytime on welcome to Storytime. If you would like to join Storytime on Facebook, simply join the Storytime group. It's open to the public. It's Storytime, 2 words, exclamation point at the end. Hello, Mumsy, you have joined. Glad to have you here. If you would like to join Storytime on YouTube, make sure you like the videos and yes, subscribe. Yes, click subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And if you did that, send it along to your friends as well, so they can join and enjoy as well and have a good time. I have gotten some more subscribers recently, which is a wonderful thing. So yes, YouTube there. It's BeepCorny1 is the link, and then Twitch. If you would like to follow me on Twitch, the name is Brett Doesn't Game, all one word, no apostrophes or anything like that. Anyway, for tonight, and hello, Shay, glad you have joined as well. Yes, of course, a happy Mother's Day goes out to my mum who is watching tonight, and to all the other mums as well. So, shall we get on with it? Tonight, we are reading Russian fairy tales once more. Last night, I was here awfully late. Last night started at about 11 p.m. Tonight, much earlier than that. So, we obviously earlier start. We can read a little more than we did last night. Yes, thank you, Shay, for sharing the post. If you would like, I would really be appreciative if you would share story time with your friends, share it on your wall or something like that so that they know about it as well. Thank you, Mum, for sharing as well. Gosh, so much support. And hello, Heather. I see you have joined us on YouTube. An important note there. Mr. Green 619, hello to you as well. An important note to everyone. If you would like a shout out, please comment. I am watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, so I can keep up with you. I might not be really quick on getting back to you, but I can keep up with you, and I can notice when someone has said hello or something of the sort. So if you would like to make a comment, if you would like a shout out, just leave a comment. I will comment back. I will shout out to you and so forth. So tonight we will be reading Russian fairy tales, followed by one short story of my own. Tonight's short story, it's not one of my favorites that I've done, but, I think there's some merit to it, maybe a little bit. So we'll see if you like that, and we'll give it a read. But first, we do need to read the Russian fairy tales. So we will be starting where we left off last night on a new story called The Mayoress. Mayoress. And how long is this one, I wonder? No, it's only half a page. It's a really short one. So, yes, we'll be able to read a number of Russian fairy tales tonight before we get to mine. And then perhaps we will go back and finish the night with one more fairy tale. But in the meantime, let me show you there is an illustration for the fairy tale of the evening. And here it is. Yes, and as you can see, there's some writing there too, something that I wrote in there. Continued. That means I continued this from another page. Narrative section elicits surprise. Epilogue is reward/magical effect. Envy. Cinderella equals envy. Snow White equals vanity. Essentialism. What is female or male is invariable and essential, biologically determined. Perpetuates gender stereotype. Feminists against this gender stereotype. And for constructivism, idea that male/female is shaped by culture, historical and social factors. Lots of stuff. We won't read that boring stuff. It's not really relevant to the story as far as I can tell. I don't remember why I took these notes here for one. I don't remember what they had to do with. But anyway, we'll move past my old notes and we will move forward into the stories. So here we are. Excuse me. The Mayoress. Once there was an ambitious woman. When her husband came home from the village council, she asked him, "What did the council deliberate about?" "We did not deliberate about anything," We gathered to elect a new mayor. And whom did you elect? For the time being, no one. Elect me then, said the woman. And so the husband went to the council. His wife was a bad one, and he wanted to teach her a lesson, and reported this to the elders. They immediately elected her mayoress. So she began to rule and judge. She drank wine with the peasants and took bribes. Oh, what a terrible person. Goodness. First time in one of these stories there's an ambitious woman, and it turns out she's one who takes bribes and drinks with peasants. Goodness gracious. The time came for collecting the poll tax. The mayoress was unable to collect it on time. A Cossack came and arrived for the mayor, but the woman, upon hearing that he had arrived, ran home to hide. Where shall I hide? She asked her husband. Dear little husband, tie me up in a bag and put me over there with the bags of grain. There were about 5 bags of spring seed in the room. The peasant tied up the mayoress and put her among the bags. The Cossack came and said, "Aho, the mayor has hidden himself." And he began to lash the bag with his whip. The woman roared at the top of her lungs, "Oh, little father, I don't want to be mayoress. I don't want to be mayoress." The Cossack gave her a good thrashing and left, and thereafter the woman no longer wanted to be mayoress and obeyed her husband. I'm guessing, because this is Russian, that the moral of the story is that you should obey your husband, something terrible like that, you know? I mean, it's also very old, this story, so they're obviously not up on the times, you know, so to speak. So, according to this story, Russian women should not be ambitious and should be loyal 100% to their husband, I guess. Is that what it's saying? All right, let's move on to the next story, shall we? Ivan the Simpleton. There seem to be a lot of simpletons named Ivan. All right, let's get on with it. In a certain land, in a certain kingdom, there lived an old man and his old wife. Oh, here we go with that old prompt again. They had 3 sons, surprise, surprise, of whom the third was called Ivan the Simpleton. This seems familiar. The first 2 sons were married, but Ivan the Simpleton was a bachelor. Go figure. The first 2 were busy. They managed the house, ploughed and sowed, but the third did nothing at all. I suppose he probably laid on the stove. One day the old father and his daughters-in-law sent Ivan to finish ploughing the few rods of land. The young boy came to the field, harnessed his horse, drove once or twice over the field with his plough, and saw countless swarms of mosquitoes and midges. This may be the story I've been waiting for. Let us see. He grabbed a whip, lashed one side of his horse, and killed a host of these bugs. He lashed the other side of the horse and killed 40 gadflies. He thought to himself, this is the story! It's the story! Here with one stroke I have killed 40 mighty knights and a countless host of lesser warriors. He gathered them all together, put them in a pile, and covered them with horse dung. He did not continue ploughing, but unharnessed his horse and drove home. Upon his return, he said to his sisters-in-law and his mother, "Give me a piece of thick cloth and a saddle, and you, father, give me the rusty saber that hangs on the wall. I am not a real peasant. I have no land." His family laughed at him, and to mock him, gave him a cracked clod instead of a saddle. Our fellow attached girths to it and laid it across a wretched mare. Instead of a piece of thick cloth, his mother gave him a ragged old dress of hers. He took this, sharpened his father's saber, made ready for his journey, and left. He came to a crossroads, and since he knew how to write a little, he wrote on the guidepost, "Let the mighty Ilya Muromets and Fyodor Liznikov come to such and such a kingdom to see the strong and mighty hero who in one stroke killed 40 mighty knights and an unnumbered host of lesser warriors, and covered them all with a stone." Soon after, Ilya Muromets came to the same crossroads and read the inscription on the post. "Ha!" he said, "a strong and mighty hero has passed by here. It is not meet to disobey him." He rode on and overtook Vanyushka, and while he was still at a distance, doffed his cap and saluted him. "Good day, strong and mighty hero." Vanyushka did not doff his cap and said, "Good day, Ilyuka." They rode together. After a short time, Fyodor Liznikov came to the same post, read the inscription, and decided that he too should heed the summons. After all, Ilya Muromets had heeded it, so he rode in the same direction. While he was still at a distance, he doffed his cap and said, "Good day, strong and mighty hero." But Vanyushka did not doff his cap and said, "Good day, Fedyunka." Interesting. All three of them rode together. They came to a certain kingdom and stopped in the royal meadows. The heroes pitched their tents, and Vanyushka spread his old dress. The two heroes tied their steeds with silken ropes, but Vanyushka broke a twig from a tree, twisted it, and tied his mare with it, and so they settled themselves. From his castle, the king saw that the strangers were foraging in his meadows, and at once sent one of his familiars to find out who they were. He came to the meadows, approached Ilya Muromets, and asked him what manner of men they were, and why they thus trampled the king's meadows without permission. Ilya Muromets answered, "It is not for me to answer. Ask our chief, the strong and mighty hero." The envoy approached Vanyushka, that is Ivan, I suppose, who began to shout at him before he could utter a word. "Get away while you still can, and tell the king that in his meadows there's a strong and mighty hero who in one stroke killed 40 mighty knights and an unnumbered host of lesser warriors, and covered them with a stone, and that Ilya Muromets and Fyodor Liznikov are with him, and that he demands the king's daughter in marriage." The envoy conveyed this message to the king. The king consulted the annals. Ilya Muromets and Fyodor Liznikov were mentioned there, but the third one, who in one stroke had killed 40 knights, was not. Then the king ordered his army to gather, seize the 3 knights, and bring them before him. But this was no easy task. When Vanyushka saw the army approaching, he cried, "Ilyushka, drive away this rabble!" And he himself lay down, stretched out, and watched the scene like an owl. An owl, they say. At his command, Ilya Muromets jumped on his steed, galloped forward, and did not so much smite with his hands as trample with his steed. He knocked down the whole army, leaving only a few messengers to inform the king of what had happened. Upon hearing the news of this disaster, the king assembled even greater forces, sent them to seize the 3 knights. Ivan the simpleton cried, "Fedyunka, drive away this scum!" Fyodor jumped on his steed and knocked them all down, leaving only a few messengers. What could the king do? He was in sore straits. The 3 knights had defeated his army. He began to cudgel his brains and recalled that in his kingdom there lived a strong hero, Dobrynya. He sent him a letter, asked him to come to the royal meadows and conquer the 3 knights. Dobrynya came. The king received him on his 3rd-story balcony, and Dobrynya And Dobrynya on horseback was level with the king on the balcony. So mighty was he. Wow, that is mighty. So the king was on the balcony, and Dobrynya rode up on his horse, and he and his horse were so big and tall that he met eye to eye with the king, even though he wasn't on the balcony. That's impressive. He saluted the king, and they spoke together. Then he went to the king's meadows. Ilya Muromets and Fyodor Liznikov saw Dobrynya riding toward them, became frightened, jumped on their steeds, and made away. But Vanyushka had no time to run away, for while he got his mare ready, Dobrynya approached him and began to laugh at the sight of the vaunted hero. He was so short and so thin. Dobrynya bent his head down level with Vanyushka's face and stared at him in amusement. Vanyushka did not lose his presence of mind. He drew out his saber and cut off Dobrynya's head. "Good for you, Vanyushka. Good for you. You cut off a real hero's head." All right. The king saw this and was frightened. "Oh," he said, "the knight has slain Dobrynya. Now we are indeed in trouble. Go quickly, call the hero to my palace." Such a brilliant delegation came to fetch Vanyushka that, Lord save us, the very best carriages and people of the highest rank were there. They seated him in a coach and brought him before the king. The king received him hospitably and gave him his daughter in marriage. They celebrated their wedding and are still alive to this very day and chewing bread. Good for them. Bread is delicious and you should chew it. I was at their wedding and drank mead. It ran down my mustache but did not go into my mouth. I asked for a cap and received a slap. I was given a robe, and on my way home, a titmouse flew over me, cackling, "Flowing robe." I thought she was saying, "Throw away the robe," and threw it away. This is not the tale, but to flourish for fun. The tale itself has not begun. All right, that was still sort of a fun story, so, I'm not disappointed. I think that same story happens several times with several outcomes. I could be wrong, but I think it does. So, anyway, that was interesting, was it not? But that was, no, not the Mayoress. That was Ivan the Simpleton. Ivan the Simpleton. I think I might find a bookmark to put in that. No bookmark here. All right, I won't. There's my bookmark. I was going to say I won't bother myself, but I think I will, so that I have it. Ivan the Simpleton. There we are. Bookmarked. Next up, let us read. Yes, we'll read this one, and then we'll take a pause for the original story. Father Nicholas and the Thief. In a certain town there lived a thief who caused much sorrow. Stupid thief. One day he happened to rob a wealthy man. Oh, my cat is brushing up against my leg. Hello, sweetie. Rob a wealthy man. The theft was discovered, and men were sent in pursuit of the thief. He ran for a long time through the woods. Not a long time or a short time, but definitely a long time through the woods. But in front of these woods there was an open steppe that extended for at least 10 versts. When the thief reached the edge of the woods, he stopped and wondered what to do next. If he ran over the steppe, he could be caught at once. For there everything would be seen from a distance of 2 versts, and he heard his pursuers coming closer. Then he began to pray, Lord, forgive my sinful soul, hide me, Father Nicholas, and I will set a 10-kopeck candle before your image. Suddenly, out of nowhere, an aged man appeared and asked the thief, What did you just say? The thief answered, I said, Father Nicholas, hide me in this wilderness, and I promised to put a candle before his image. And he confessed his sin to the old man, who said, Creep into this piece of carrion. For a piece of carrion was lying nearby. Gross. That's gross, yes. The thief had no other choice than to creep into the carrion, for he did not want to be caught. He crept in, and that very moment the old man became invisible. He was Father Nicholas himself. It was Father Nicholas, Father Christmas. We'll wonder about that one. Now the pursuers came nearer. The men rode out on the steppe, rode for half a verst, and seeing nothing, turned back. Meanwhile, the thief lay in the carrion, hardly able to breathe. So foul was the smell. I believe it. And then I see Mum has said, Hi, Jerry. I'm guessing Jerry joined in, but Facebook did not let me know. That's okay. Hello to everyone watching. So anyway, meanwhile, yes, the smell was so foul. When his pursuers left, he crept out and saw the same old man standing nearby, gathering wax. The thief approached him and thanked him for his rescue. Then the old man asked again, What did you promise Father Nicholas when you sought refuge? The thief answered, I promised to buy him a 10-kopeck candle. Well, just as you were stifled lying in that carrion, so Father Nicholas would be stifled by your candle. And the old man admonished him, Never pray to the Lord and his saints to help you in evil deeds, for the Lord does not bless evil deeds. Now heed my words and tell others never to pray to God for help in evil deeds. Having said this, he vanished from sight. But wait, what happened? Interesting. I don't understand what just happened there. I really don't. Ooh. Well, the next one is longer. Not super long, but longer. So here's what I will do. I will read the original story now, and then we will go back to the Russian fairy tales. Sounds good? Sounds good. So for this one's called Evre Septem. One, of course, I never finished, much like many others, but that's okay. You don't have to finish your stories. You don't have to. If you don't want to, or if you can't, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still just writing for the sake of writing. It's a great thing. So anyway, shall we? Let's get started. Like I said, this is called Evre Septem. Joel didn't know whether it was day or night. The confines of deep space did not allow the luxury of axial rotation, so the perception of time was primarily simulated. Unfortunately, the hum of the ship's inner workings was not currently present. the ability to tell Earth time, the comfort that came with powered heat, the jubilation that leapt from the taste buds upon biting into preserved fruits as opposed to the dull reception of emergency rations, the ability to breathe freshly filtered air. These were all things he could not currently afford. The Everest Septim was not by any means a large ship. It was a Class 1 exploration vessel, and was the first of its kind. Named for its unusually thin yet durable walls, the Septim could support a crew of 12, but without room for privacy, for as durable as the walls were, they did not hold sound so well. Then again, as thin as the walls were, the vacuum of space was strong enough to silence the screams that were not emanating from Joel's imagination. "What do you want me to say, Deb?" The box of rations did not answer him back. "I'm sorry. I did what I had to, but what did you expect from me?" The silence closed in almost as harshly as the cold of dead space. "It's not like I don't care for you, for everyone. For Christ's sake, we've been living on this ship for how long?" Joel stared at the box as the rations slowly filled it. The food scanner above was set to minimal power consumption and thus put out small bars, not dissimilar in size and shape to granola bars that were grey in color and grey in flavor. Plain protein with added vitamins, enough to sustain life for a period of time, not enough to feign resemblance to real food. Joel pressed the button that read steak, and a light flashed. "Insufficient power," it said. Again he pressed the button, and again it read insufficient power. He asked once more, "How long, Deb?" He pressed the button that read fruit, and again it read insufficient power. "How long, Deb?" He pressed the button that read bread. "Just how fucking long, Deborah?" The only reply to his screams was insufficient power. The problem was significant indeed. This is going backward a little bit. The engineering compartment had been completely exposed to outer space due to a massive tear in the hull of the ship. As a result, the standard seals to the main cabin, which were not designed to accommodate for a problem this serious, could not sustain airlock. Major life support in the main cabin was failing. As pressure dropped slowly, Joel ran to the captain's cabin to check the integrity of the seals holding air in the main cabin. The light indicator was quickly changing shades of yellow to orange as he watched in shock. The button labeled emergency seal blinked red. His eyes drifted toward it, as did his left hand. Though it shook uncontrollably, it moved with purpose, undoubtedly readying itself for the motion that would temporarily save his life and doom his crew to a still and silent grave. "Joel, no!" Deborah began to run toward the captain's cabin from the main cabin. Joel's eyes met hers the moment his hand came down on the button. A heat had found its way to his face, a certain regret mixed with sorrow and the odd, unexpected ecstasy of knowing that you will be the sole survivor of a tragedy. The emergency seal slammed shut over the entrance to the cabin, as did the emergency seals in the main cabin. A small window allowed Joel to view the main cabin. Deborah stood in shock. She pressed the button on the communications link. Walker is in engineering. He and Brooker are trying to patch the leak. Avery and Smith are in life support and you've killed them." Joel defended himself. No, I've saved us. Walker and Brooker will live if they fix the leak. A leak that large can't be fixed. And I'm sorry about what will happen to them, but I've saved the rest of us. Joel neglected to mention the integrity of the emergency seal for the main cabin and the fact that it would not hold for much longer due to a malfunction. "Open the seals, Joel. Open them now." "I can't. Avery and Smith need to get back to the main cabin. Without rations, they won't survive. Without power, none of us will survive." Joel returned to the console at the front of the cabin, and Deborah pounded twice on the glass. She did not yell into the communication link, but rather she sobbed at the wall, angry at the situation more than her selfish captain's actions. For all she knew, he was right, but something, as she felt earlier, was wrong. A solitary tear ran down her eye until it met her face, where it pushed against the glass. Several minutes passed until Joel looked back at Deborah. She was no longer at the glass, but sitting in a ball against the emergency seal that separated the two of them. He thought to open the seals, if only for a moment, but when he looked back to the console to do so, he noticed that the integrity indicator of the seal between the main cabin and the engineering had turned to red. In seconds, the door would break and pressure would be lost. Joel walked to the seal and put his hand against the glass. "Deb," he said through the comlink. She slowly rose and looked once more to her captain. A lump in his gut kept him from saying he was sorry, from saying that he loved her, or at least that he thought he did, from saying she deserved more, from saying he was scared. "Deb, I—" Before he could get another word out of his mouth, a loud crash emanated from the other side of the seal. The main cabin had been breached by the leak, and the pressure was rapidly dropping. Deborah's face contorted into a fearful expression of confusion as power was automatically diverted to the main cabin. The lights went out and the sound of rushing wind was present for only a moment before dead silence was all that remained. Joel could see Deborah as she began to float inside the cabin. Her body drifted toward the void of space, and it appeared as though she was trying to scream, but to no avail. Not that the sound was lost in the vacuum of space, but that she was actually incapable of producing sound. She could not see the saliva boiling on her tongue, or he could not see the saliva boiling on her tongue. He could not hear the prayers she said in her head. He could only watch as she drifted away and into unconsciousness. Anyway, have to obey the master. Yes, Heather, have to obey the master. Anyway, that was the story. That's all I've got for you in regard to that one. In the meantime, let us resume the Russian fairy tales, pick up where we left off for one or two more tales, and then we will call it a night. This next one is called Buranushka, the Little Red Cow. I am very impressed that I was able to say that. I don't know if I got it right, but Buranushka sounds right, so I'm going to guess I did. In a certain kingdom, in a certain land, there lived a king and a queen, and they had an only daughter, Princess Maria. Pretty name. Yes. When the queen died, the king took another wife, Yagishna. Yagishna gave birth to two daughters. One had 2 eyes and the other 3 eyes. Interesting. The stepmother disliked Princess Maria and ordered her to take Buranushka, the little red cow, to pasture and gave her a crust of dry bread for her dinner. The princess went to the open field, bowed to Buranushka's right leg, ate and drank her fill, and dressed in fine attire. All day long, dressed like a lady, she tended Buranushka. At the end of the day, she again bowed to the little cow's right leg, removed her fine attire, went home carrying back her crust of bread, and put it on the table. How does the slut keep alive? Wondered Yagishna. The next day, she gave Princess Maria the same crust and sent her elder daughter with her, saying, "Give an eye to what Princess Maria feeds herself with." "And hello, Gloria, glad you have joined." They came to the open field, and Princess Maria said, "Little sister, let me pick the lice from your head." She began to pick them at the same time, saying, "Sleep, sleep, little sister. Sleep, sleep, my dear. Sleep, sleep, little eye. Sleep, sleep, other eye." The sister fell asleep, and Princess Maria rose up, went to Buranushka, bowed to her right leg, ate and drank her fill, dressed herself in fine attire, and all day long walked around like a lady. Night came. Princess Maria removed her fine attire and said, "Get up, little sister, get up, my dear. Let us go home." "Ah," said the sister unhappily, "I have slept through the day and have not seen anything. Now my mother will scold me." They came home. The mother asked her, "What did Princess Maria eat? What did she drink? I have not seen anything." Yagishna scolded her. Next morning she got up and sent her 3-eyed daughter, saying, "Go and see what the slut eats and drinks." "That's not very nice of you to say about your stepdaughter, is it?" The girls came to the open field where Buranushka grazed. Princess Maria said, "Little sister, let me pick the lice from your head." "Pick them, little sister, pick them, pick them, my dear." Princess Maria began to pick, saying at the same time, "Sleep, sleep, little sister, sleep, sleep, my dear. Sleep, sleep, little eye. Sleep, sleep, other eye." She forgot about the third eye, and the third eye looked and looked at what Princess Maria was doing. How strange and impressive that this 3-eyed girl can sleep with two eyes and keep one open to watch everything going on. I'm impressed. She ran to Buranushka, bowed to her right leg, ate and drank her fill, dressed in fine attire. When the sun began to set, she again bowed to Buranushka, removed her fine attire, and went to rouse the three-eyed one. "Get up, little sister, go up, my dear. Let us go home." Princess Maria came home and put her dry crust on the table. The mother questioned her daughter, "What does she eat and drink?" The three-eyed one told everyone. Yagishna said to her husband, "Slaughter Buranushka, old man," and the old man slaughtered the cow. Princess Maria begged him, "Please, my dear, give me at least a bit of the entrails." The old man threw her a bit of the entrails. She took it, placed it on a gatepost, and a bush with sweet berries grew up on it, and all kinds of little birds perched there and sang songs of kings and peasants. Prince Ivan heard about Princess Maria, came to her stepmother, put a dish on the table, and said, "Whichever maiden picks a dish full of berries for me, her I will take for my wife." Yagishna sent her elder daughter to pick berries. The birds did not even let her come near. She had to guard her eyes lest the birds peck them out. Yagishna sent her other daughter, and they did not let her come close. At last she sent Princess Maria. Princess Maria took the dish and went to pick the berries, and as she picked them, the little birds placed twice and thrice as many on the dish as herself she could pick. She returned, placed the berries on the table, and bowed to the prince. There was a gay feast and a wedding. Prince Ivan took Princess Maria away, and they began to live happily and prospered. After some time, a long time or a short time, Princess Maria gave birth to a son. She wanted to visit her father and went to his house with her husband. Her stepmother turned her into a goose. What? Her stepmother turned her into a goose and disguised her elder daughter as Prince Ivan's wife. Prince Ivan returned home. The old tutor of the child got up early in the morning, washed himself very clean, took the baby in his arms, and went to an open field, stopping near a little bush. Geese came flying. Grey geese came. "My geese, grey geese, where have you been? Where have you seen the baby's mother?" "In the next flock." The next flock came. "My geese, grey geese, where have you seen the baby's mother?" The baby's mother jumped to the ground, tore off her goose skin, took the baby in her arms, and nursed him at her breast, crying, "I will nurse him today, I will nurse him tomorrow, but the day after I will fly beyond the forest dark, beyond the mountains high." The old man went home. The little fellow slept till next morning without awakening, and the false wife railed at the old man for having gone to the open field and for having starved her son. Next morning again he got up very early, washed himself very clean, and went with the child to the open field. And Prince Ivan got up, followed the old man unseen, and hid in the bush. Geese came flying. Grey geese came. The old man called to them, "My geese, grey geese, where have you seen the baby's mother?" "In the next flock." The next flock came. "My geese, grey geese, where have you seen the baby's mother?" The baby's mother jumped to the ground, tore off her goose skin, threw it. Before I get there is an illustration. Here you are. Looks like there's a three-eyed woman on the ground there, and a cow, probably Buranushka. That might be Prince Ivan. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Anyway, threw it on the ground. No, threw it behind the bush, nursed the baby at her breast, and said farewell to him. "Tomorrow I will fly beyond the forests dark, beyond the mountains high." She gave the baby to the old man and said, "Why is there a smell of burning?" She turned to put her goose skin on and realized that it was gone. Prince Ivan had burned it. He grasped Princess Maria. She turned into a frog, then into a lizard, and into one kind of loathsome insect after another, and at last into a spindle. Prince Ivan broke the spindle in two, threw the top back of him and the bottom in front of him, and a beautiful young woman stood before him. They went home together. Yagishna's daughter yelled and shouted, "The wrecker is coming! The killer is coming!" Prince Ivan gathered the dukes and boyars together and asked them, with which wife do you advise me to live?" They said, "With the first." "Well, gentlemen, whichever wife is the first to climb the gate, with her I will live." Yagishna's daughter at once climbed to the top of the gate, but Princess Maria only clutched it and did not climb up. Then Prince Ivan took his gun and shot the false wife, and began to live with Princess Maria as of old, and they prospered. I'm going to have to ask for help on that one. But yes, here's the image. Here it is. Geese, I think. Yes, I think it's geese. And let us see. I think perhaps... Oh, how long is that? Oh, that's a long one. Okay. The next story is called The Jester, but seeing as it is 10:55, I do believe I will save that one for next time, and I will call it a night. So, for now... Rude, lol, rude, hello, hi, lots of hellos. So yes, that was awful rude, a few of those things there. And hello, Amber, I see you joined for the evening, although it is the end of the reading right now, but I hope you left that comment a few minutes ago. Anyway, one more shout out for everyone who came. I see Mum, I see Shay, I see Gloria, Jerry, let's see who else. Who else? I see Amber, I see Heather, and I see Mr. Green 619. Yes, you have a good night as well. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to join my Facebook group, Storytime, with an exclamation point at the end. You're welcome, Heather. Don't forget to like the video on YouTube and subscribe to Beeper Corny One's channel. And don't forget, if you like, to find me on Twitch. The handle is Brett Doesn't Game, all one word, no apostrophes or anything like that. Anyway, without further ado, I bid you adieu. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. That's tomorrow night with a reading of Bram Stoker's Dracula, starting at Chapter 8. Until then, good night. Yes, I would like to end the stream. You're welcome. You're welcome. And you're welcome, 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 and you're welcome. Everybody's welcome.